Welcome, everybody, to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show featuring Dr. Carolyn Dean. Join Dr. Dean for the next 2 hours along with her host, cohort, and good buddy, Ginny Sanders, also known as Ginny Almighty. Join Dr. Dean as she shares with us her vast range of experience, knowledge, talent, and wisdom. Phone lines are now open, and we'll be taking your calls from around the world and here in the USA.
Welcome everyone to Dr. Carolyn Dean live here on Dream Vision 7 Radio, uniting humanity with universal love, and as we like to say on this show, uniting all the entire globe with the very precious wisdom and incredible resource of the very lovely, very delightful, and absolutely animated Dr. Carolyn Dean. And this is Ginny Sanders, and I'm so happy to be your co-host this evening. And whether you are at your home, driving down the freeway, listening on your computer, you're listening to the archive, what I have to say to you this week is what I say every week and have said for the last 8 years. You are in for a treat, because this is a incredibly intuitive, wonderfully non-physically driven show. There's a level of consciousness and awareness that Dr. Dean brings to her show that you just don't find on everyday radio. It's spontaneous, it's well-informed, it's wise and divine, and she just brings all of her energy to you and connects with you in such a powerful way to let you know that that latent intelligence that your body, that cellular function that you have on everyday radio, it's spontaneous cells that of your body is here to serve you, and all it needs is the basic building blocks of nutrients to be able to perform in its optimal function. She can also talk to you about wisdom, how to use your mind properly, how to use gratitude, and how to ground yourself in different realities so that you can achieve that optimal well-being. And she can talk to you about all kinds of things, ranging from herbs. She can talk to you about structure. She can talk to you about movement. She could talk to you about exercise, lifestyle. But one of her most favorite things in the whole wide world to talk about is magnesium. As the author of the bestseller, The Magnesium Miracle, it makes sense why she would want to talk about that and a whole lot of other things. Before I bring her on, I just want to let you know that we are going to take your live calls this evening at 646-558-8656. You'll see that number on the email, on our social media. You see it here at the radio station. You see it on the YouTube channel if you're listening to us through YouTube. And all you need to do is dial that 8836953587 and come into the call. We'll get you on to talk to Dr. Dean at the appropriate time. You can also use our chat line. You can also use the talk line on YouTube. And of course, we've got a ton of your emails that we get before the show. And the other thing I want to let you know is Dr. Dean does not give medical advice on this show. What she's going to do is talk about what she would do if she were you in your circumstances, how she's navigated through her own health challenges, or how she knows that the hundreds of thousands of customers that we have navigated through there. So it's a great community of sharing. So we are so happy again to have her with us this evening. So happy to welcome her back to the show. The very wonderful and completely and totally delightful Dr. Carolyn Dean.
Yay. There are the children down the alleyway, getting further and further away. I guess they're getting healthier. They're getting healthier. That's what's happening. Yes, children, the worst is over. You're in the right place. Everything has basically disappeared, but we're here. And we're here to tell you all kinds of exciting things. Let me run through the preliminary announcements. Sign up for our subscription service on rnareset.com so you can get your your nutrients every month without having to think about them and not run out. Refer your practitioner so everybody can benefit from knowing about our products. Use referral candy. This is not a chocolate bar. It's a 15% discount for people who refer their friends and family. Get your blood testing done with our home blood test kit. We've signed up for a research project to test for magnesium, omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin D, and TSH. And as a result of those results that we're getting, we've kind of changed things at RNA Reset. We've added a vitamin D product, our D3K2 Reset. We're looking at omega-3 fatty acids, how to get more of those. And it's all in line with supporting the structure and function of our immune systems. As we'll talk about today in today's blog, we're talking about inflammation, and that does relate to the immune system and what to do for it. We've reached a state in our culture where it's the perfect storm for getting sick. So what we've done is shorn up our dietary supplements. I thought I'd just get away with a handful of nutrients to support the cells for making perfect cells, but it turns out we have to add more things to really support our immune systems, and we're doing that, and we'll talk about that more in a minute. We still have our magnesium deficiency survey going. It serves to keep us on track about the types of people that are visiting our website. We have hundreds and hundreds of new visitors every week, and we find that 70% have insomnia and anxiety, 60% have restless legs and muscle cramps, 51% have heart palpitations, and about 40% have tension headaches and migraines. So we're not going to give up on what we're doing with magnesium and with the other nutrients. I say magnesium is the basis of supporting the cells of the body because it's responsible for 80% of known metabolic functions. Why wouldn't we start there? So we keep promoting our Remag magnesium as our gateway to the other dietary supplements. I mean, it's only recently we really found out how important potassium is. Potassium helps magnesium work, and magnesium helps potassium work. And the people who are adding potassium to their regimen are telling us all kinds of amazing things, especially those who've been diagnosed with some sort of heart problem, which may be a magnesium and potassium deficiency problem. There are about 20 free ebooks at drcarolyndeanlive.com. And we have our nutrient research paper posted somewhere in there. It's called Circulating Ionized Magnesium as a Measure of Supplement Bioavailability. And that's what we're about, bringing you nutrients that are bioavailable. I mean, what's the point of just having on a piece of paper, oh yeah, I'm taking these nutrients and thinking you're covered when they're not even being absorbed. So that's our announcements. And actually, Ginny, before I go to the blog, it's funny you mentioned about movement and exercise. Ginny's always reading my mind. I do want to give a little sidebar on body balance. And I want to say it this way. Every time you lose your balance, like you're trying to put your pants on one leg after the other, lose your balance, you judge yourself. Every time you bang into something, you judge yourself. every time you forget something, you judge yourself. And this week, for some reason, I was, putting one sock on, and then I was going to put on the other sock, and I thought, I'll just go lean against the wall so I don't fall over. And I really hadn't been doing that. And then I thought, oh my gosh, I am not allowing my own balance to balance me so that I can put my other sock on. I'm depending on a wall. What's going to be next? A crutch, or, sitting down in a chair to put my socks on. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to always, I'll use the opportunity when I put on my bathing suit or my socks or my underwear. I'm going to use the opportunity to stand on one leg and pull my clothing on, and then stand on the other leg, one leg at a time, and pull the other side on, because that's how you practice your core balance. If you're already having trouble, then do some yoga exercises, or just simply stand beside a chair, stand on one leg, put the other leg up, and bend it at the knee, put it behind you, and stand there. And if you do that often enough, and, even just for a minute at a time, you will get your balance back. And if you don't, and you start relying on that wall or that crutch or that chair, you're giving up. Never give up. And if you do bang into something or forget something or lose your balance, do not judge yourself. There's just no point. You just make the observation, oh, I did that. Then, I'll just practice and do better. I learned about this way of sort of forcing myself to be conscious of my own failings, let's say, or potential failings, because I was in a medical practice, because I could see patients coming in. And I'll tell you, when I first started seeing chronic fatigue patients back in the 80s, I looked at these mostly young women who were putting up with a full-time job, and they probably had a child or two, and they were just beating themselves up because they couldn't keep up. They just couldn't do it all, and they kept trying. And I thought, oh my gosh, that could be me. And so what did I do? I had started my practice with a 4-day week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And when I realized that, I went to a 3-day week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I mean, that was it. I was not going to succumb to the burden of overwork, et cetera, et cetera. So use your environment as your observation site, as your experiment. When I see someone walking by and they're all slumped over or really bad posture, I stand up straighter. When I see people walking like a duck with their feet out at 45 degrees, I make sure that my feet are straight. So that's just, a bit of just reinforcement of what you already know and what you could be doing to support yourself even more. What do you say, Jenny? Any input on that?
Beautiful. I think that's lovely. I sat up right away when you started talking about that. And I definitely started thinking right away, too, that I've gone back to taking yoga and how really good it does to feel to hold your balance and to feel that movement and that stretching in your body. So even a low impact thing like that has a high impact. Very good, Carolyn. Yeah. Now, why do you say you judge yourself? Are you just saying that when you start to fire, like, oh, darn it, I wish I had, is it kind of like that?
Yeah, people, you know how people will say when they make a mistake, oh, you're so stupid. You judge yourself. You put yourself down. And, instead of saying, I'll fix that. I can do better. Use those opportunities to improve yourself rather than dragging yourself down. I mean, I have a friend when I gave her a necklace and she was putting it on, and somehow the clasp got in her left hand, and then she would have to use her left hand to open the clasp and put it together. And she said, "Oh, I've never been able to do that. Can you do it for me?" And I didn't say anything to her at the time. She's probably listening on the show. But it's like, well, practice. Practice using your little left fingers to open that clasp and find the little ring to put the clasp on of your necklace. Do not give up or say, well, I can't do that, or I've never learned to do that. By doing those things, you put tracings in your brain, new tracings in your brain that keep your brain alive.
Very nice. Yes, you overlay, you create new pathways for your neural nets to start forming, and telling yourself that there's something new that you can do, and it inspires life force. That's great.
Yeah. Nice. So there's our little sidebar.
Can we have another sidebar?
Oh, yeah.
Can you just tell everybody about the Total Body Reset for Women early in the show so that they know that they have to mark their calendar for next Monday night?
Oh, right. Yes, next week, next Monday show, we're launching several things. We're launching my latest book called Total Body Reset for Women. We're going to be announcing our webinar, which will be on the Thursday, when is our webinar? Our webinar is this week.
No, it's the 24th. It's next Thursday. You're right. Yep, next Thursday, the 24th.
Oh, yeah, I just have to get everything in by the 17th. Sorry, everybody. So next September 21st on the Monday, we're promoting the launch of Total Body Reset for Women, the book, and that'll be a free download at drcarolyndean.com. And we'll be announcing our Total Body Reset for Women webinar. And Ginny, I didn't tell you that yet, but Chad and I talked each other into me being live on that webinar, because I was asking him if he had that function for my Africa webinar. And he said, yeah, I could have my little face down in the corner of the slide. So I'm going to be live on September 24th. Okay?
Oh, very good. And then also on the radio show, what we're doing, Carolyn, is we're having, for the first time, we're actually going to have a group of call-in guest listeners. Our radio show audience that's been listening for years and has followed your protocol for restoring their health are going to be calling in. So we're going to have 6 guests next Monday night, all people who've used the formulas, who have recovered their health or have used it to sustain their good health. Women from all over and all different ages and walks of life and everything else like that. And they're going to be sharing their experience and talking with you and taking questions as well. So it's going to be a fun evening.
Very nice. Very nice. Yes. I didn't know how many people responded, but it looks like everybody you wanted to invite to the show is coming to the show. That's awesome.
Yeah, very exciting. So it's going to be very, very fun. And the book is just so awesome. And I'm just telling everybody this week, if you have any woman in your life that you care about, friend, mother, daughter, granddaughter, next door neighbor, coworker, you will want them to hear this show. It is so vitally important for women to understand their bodies. And the information is very simple, easy to use, and it's just extremely wise. And I think women are really going to be edified by the presentation and also hearing the story of other women. So please, please, please put it on your calendar and plan on joining us and inviting others to come be with us too.
Perfect. Okay, that was perfect insertion sidebar. Okay, so the topic today and today's blog is zinc, an anti-inflammatory mineral. And the blog for this is at drcarolyndeanlive.com on the home page. It's been emailed to people. It's on our social media, and it's kind of a long blog. It's about inflammation, how chronic diseases may have the same root cause, inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation has been linked to heart attacks, strokes, type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's, compromised immune and compromised respiratory function, and even cancer. So I'll just say, though, that inflammation doesn't necessarily cause these conditions, but it's found in these conditions. Allopathic medicine doesn't know why, but I do. It's because of low magnesium, low zinc, probably low vitamin D, low omega-3 fatty acids, all these building blocks for the body. If we don't have enough of them or in the right proportions, then the body just gets irritated and inflamed, and then these diseases just pack on. I mean, you know what I've said about heart disease, and I made it even more clear in the Heart Health book, where instead of just talking about atrial fibrillation, which is kind of the end result of the heart failing because of lack of magnesium, I just made it real clear. It started with tachycardia. When the heart starts beating faster and faster, at first you may think, oh, that's just anxiety. Well, anxiety is a magnesium deficiency symptom. So you have a tachycardia, and then you can have angina. Your heart then can kind of back up. The pressure in the heart backs up, and the smooth muscles in the blood vessels can tighten up and cause high blood pressure. It's all very easy in my world to explain these things, because I've lived with low magnesium for so long, and I know what it does to the body. And low magnesium will inflame the body, and then you get into this vicious cycle in allopathic medicine where they're trying to find drugs for inflammation, and they don't realize that the more drugs you take, the more inflamed your body becomes. The inflammation is things like histamine, bradykinin, all the cytokinins that you're hearing about now with COVID-19 that get stirred up with infection and inflammation. They start irritating the body, and allopathic medicine just looks for ways to suppress those symptoms without having any regard for the minerals that may be required to take care of those symptoms. So what else are we talking about here in the blog? There's a study in 2006 about magnesium and inflammatory response, showing that at the cellular level, magnesium reduces inflammation. And what Ginny goes on to say in the blog is that zinc has a similar function. Zinc plays a critical role in controlling the inflammatory response. A study at Oregon State University found that improving zinc status through diet and supplementation may reduce the risk of inflammatory diseases. And I mean, that's been known for decades about zinc. I learned it back in the late 70s in my naturopathic classes. So zinc, it's become of much more interest recently, and that's because with the COVID crisis, one of the major treatments for mild to moderate COVID is hydroxychloroquine and zinc. Unfortunately, it's been pushed aside because it's not an expensive enough treatment. God, how many hundreds of thousands of people have died because they were told not to do hydroxychloroquine and zinc. However, zinc is the active ingredient in that combination. Hydroxychloroquine, what it does is it has a function that allows it to open up the cell mineral ion channels and allows zinc to enter the cells. And then zinc, as a natural antiviral, it heals wounds. I'll go over a list of things it does. It's quite amazing. But it is the property of hydroxychloroquine to open up the cells, to allow zinc in, that allows then the zinc to do its job as an antiviral. And what we have with our Pico Zinc is a stabilized zinc ion that is small enough to enter the cell on its own through the small mineral ion channels and do its work. So it's really quite revolutionary. You'll never hear about it in mainstream media because it's not something that can be patented, or you can't charge $1,000 a treatment for it. So some more words here about zinc. It's essential to preserve natural tissue barriers such as the respiratory epithelium, preventing pathogen entry. It's necessary for a balanced function of the immune system and the redox system. That's the oxidation reduction system in the body that vitamin C and magnesium, everything works on. Zinc deficiency can be added to the factors predisposing individuals to infection and detrimental progression of COVID. Additionally, due to its direct antiviral properties, it can be assumed that zinc is beneficial for most of the population, especially those with suboptimal zinc status. Okay, so as I mentioned at the onset of the show, we're in a perfect storm. We've gotten to this point because, as Ginny continues in this blog, we have chronic low-grade inflammation created and sustained by excessive belly fat, a poor diet of processed foods and sugars, lack of exercise, smoking, periodontal gum disease. So these lifestyle-related diseases have reached epidemic proportions and lead to these chronic, what they call comorbidities in the population that makes 70% of our population susceptible to COVID. If you don't have the comorbidities, if you've been taking your nutrients and you realize that what you've been told about your heart disease or AFib or diabetes or even arthritis, that all these things are improving with your nutrients, then you don't have a comorbidity and your immune system is probably intact. So that is what I wanted to say about the blog, but then to look at the basic facts about zinc, what you can do there is go to the Total Body Immunity book. It's at drcarolyndeanlive.com. It's a free download. It's version 2, and Pico Zinc is in the list of nutrients for total body immunity. This is what I was saying. This is what we had to expand into to cover the immune system. And the nutrients, they do start with Remag. We'll always start with the Remag because it functions on 80% of the metabolic processes in the body. Then there's our vitamin D product, D3K2 Reset, our Whole C Reset, our Flora Revive, our Pico Silver, and our Pico Zinc. And I mean, you're going to be amazed if you haven't read this book yet. Chapter 6 is Pico Zinc, and I have talked about it in the Remite Recalcia book because it's one of the ingredients in Remite. If you take your recommended dose of Remite every day, which is 1.5 teaspoons, you're going to get 6 milligrams of Pico Zinc. Now, it seems like a small amount, but really with our stabilized ionic form of these minerals, it's going to be functioning at 2 or 3 times the level of other supplements. So that means if you've been taking 20 milligrams of zinc in a tablet, then the dose in Remite, the 6 milligrams, is enough for a daily dose. But again, when COVID came along, I myself thought, well, we need more zinc. So our Pico Zinc is, what is it, Ginny? 20 milligrams per 1/2 teaspoon. I really had to concentrate it down so that you could get more doses. So I personally only take another extra 1/4 teaspoon a day, so I'm getting like 16 milligrams of zinc a day. And I know it's powerful. I know Ginny loves it, and she's already had all kinds of great results with it. And with our with the COVID, we find out about the endothelial connection. I have this in the Total Body Immunity book. Magnesium, vitamin D, and vitamin C all have a role to play in keeping the endothelial lining of the blood vessels intact. That's just the inner lining of the blood vessels. And it's the endothelial lining, apparently, that is attacked, or one of the areas attacked by viruses and leads to bleeding. So it turns out that zinc is necessary to maintain the health of cardiovascular cells and the endothelium. Low levels of zinc in the body can cause a deficiency in the endothelial barrier, which leads to inflammation and potential buildup of calcium and cholesterol. And the basics about zinc, I think it's 23 of them. It assists protein synthesis, wound healing. Zinc travels to wound sites, burns, abscesses, injuries, and surgery. It assists with DNA synthesis, cell division, supports normal growth and development during pregnancy, childhood, and adolescence. It affects the sense of taste and smell. If someone tells me they don't smell so well anymore, then I tell them to take zinc. Assists with blood formation, with DNA and RNA and protein metabolism, fatty acid and prostaglandin metabolism, vitamin A metabolism, again, growth phases, regulation of sex hormones, reproductive organ function, and fertility. So miscarriage, birth defects, immune deficiency are common effects of zinc deficiency. It stabilizes membranes. It gives you free radical protection and superoxide dismutase with zinc as a cofactor. It inhibits intestinal absorption of toxic heavy metals like lead and cadmium. It regulates brain neurotransmitters. It assists with other sensory functions such as vision and hearing. It's just 19. It assists with immune defense. It's necessary for many functions in the thyroid. That's why we have it in Remite to support the thyroid. Like magnesium, zinc is a calcium antagonist or calcium channel blocker, preventing calcium from improperly activating muscle and nerve cells and depositing in soft tissue in the body. It's required for the synthesis of thyroid hormones and the conversion of T4 to T3. So without it, you can develop hypothyroidism. And number 23, I say conversely, thyroid hormones are essential for the absorption of zinc. Researchers have found that the hair loss attributed to hypothyroidism may not improve with thyroid hormone replacement unless zinc supplements are added. And then we have a section here on zinc and the common cold, how it's already been reported, how well it works for sore throats. There are zinc lozenges on the market that people use, and the zinc deficiency symptoms just go on and on and on. The causes go on and on and on. And to diagnose it, it's difficult to diagnose. A hair test, people say, can be helpful, but what you can do with grassroots health in-home testing, and actually we have some of these kits at our RNA Reset website. You can order an MG plus elements test at the research link at rnareset.com, and it will analyze your magnesium, selenium, zinc, copper, cadmium, lead, and mercury, and vitamin D. So it's a very convenient home test kit where you prick your finger and put drops of blood on a cardboard circle and send it away, and you get your results. So then you'll know where you are with your zinc status. And I think that's, there's more. The sources of zinc, you can try to get it in the food, but the highest level of zinc is in oysters. I'm not fond of oysters, so I take my Pico Zinc. And there are a couple of milligrams in animal products and fish. It's in nuts and seeds as well. I mean, you can scrounge up some zinc in your diet, but I really think we've gotten to the stage where we can't depend on our food for our nutrients anymore. It's all been farmed out. All the nutrients have been farmed out. And there's a good section that I won't go into on the relationship of copper and zinc. There's a lot of talk about the dangers and toxicity of copper and how we shouldn't take copper and all this worry and fear about copper. And I suppose it's valid to some extent because we've had copper plumbing. Women use copper IUDs. The birth control pill itself will reduce our copper levels. But at the same time, you have to have some bioavailable copper. And that's what we have in Remite. It's 1/10 of the amount of zinc, which is the proportion that keeps zinc from actually suppressing copper or copper suppressing zinc. So it's the right balance in our Remite formula. And I'll leave it to you to go into the rest of the book if you have questions about the copper zinc balance and the problems with copper absorption. Again, with the copper in Remite, it's a stabilized ion of copper, so it's fully bioavailable. It'll get into the cells, do the job that copper has to have done. I mean, copper is part of superoxide dismutase as well. And so for all the good functions of copper, you'll get your copper in Remite. And what will happen is when you're using bioavailable copper, it will bump out the copper compounds that may be toxic in a person's body. So, Ginny, I'll stop there. As I said, I'm just reading out from the book just to drive it home about the importance of zinc. We don't really have blog questions on zinc, but we do have 6 blog questions. So I'll leave it up to you if we start taking calls now and do our blog questions later. What do you say? What have I left out, and where do we go from here?
That was fantastic. I don't know why. I mean, when I hear about zinc, I feel like I have a schoolgirl crush on it or something. Like it reminds me of the David Cassidy days when I wanted to be his wife when I was like in, junior middle school or something. I'm excited about zinc, and our zinc is so amazing. It's so fun to know that, people are using the magnesium, and zinc does mirror some of the other functions, like being, the calcium antagonist and really helping people with calcium, because of course that's a big source of inflammation. And knowing what it does for the ears and the eyes, because we have a lot of people who ask about macular degeneration. And we have a lot of people who ask about tinnitus. And I think that, zinc can really play an important role in those kinds of areas. So I'm really, really excited to see what our zinc does when you're taking that larger dose. And I've been doing it for several weeks now, and I just keep discovering new and fun things about our zinc. So make sure you've got some stock up, know that you can take it confidently. If you see the onset of anything coming, just start throwing down some zinc, or just, topping off your dose. I think it's just really beneficial. We can
right. And
yeah, go ahead, Karen.
I should say that zinc, I don't know what it is about zinc, but you probably should take it with meals, at least in the beginning, until your body gets used to it. When I first did the Pico zinc, I probably did too much. I'm always pushing it. What's going to happen? What could go wrong? So I had been fasting. I took some zinc, and I did have a bit of a reaction. I did have some vomiting and diarrhea, Ginny. I did purge. So it just reinforced that I want people, when they take their zinc, start with a 1/4 teaspoon, which is 10 milligrams. You can work up to a 1/2 teaspoon. You can take it daily. Daily is best. It's kind of like the vitamin D. I remember when I first thought with high dose vitamin D, well, yeah, they're giving it once a month or once a week or something, but the vitamin D you really should be taking every day, because that's what your body utilizes a bit every day. If you just take it once a week, and by the end of the week, it's all gone. So with zinc, if you're doing your Remite, you're getting some every day. You can do an experiment and do the 1/4 to a 1/2 teaspoon every day along with your Remite, and see how you feel. There's also using it like we do our hydrogen peroxide, diluted hydrogen peroxide, 3%. You do 50-50 saline and hydrogen peroxide. Our guest on one of our radio shows, Dr. Thomas Levy, talked about using hydrogen peroxide in this way to help clear the sinuses and nasal passages of viruses. And we can do a nebulizer of hydrogen peroxide. We can use our Pico Silver. We can use our Pico Zinc. We can even use Pico Remag for symptoms of asthma, according to our customers. And personally, it's things that I would use. I guess medically, I can't tell people to do that, but I'd have you look into sources like Dr. Thomas Levy, Levy. You can Google him and find out what he says about nebulizing. When you hear about hydrogen peroxide, you hear, oh, it's so strong. Oh, my goodness, what are people doing? But we're just talking about using it for 5 minutes, maybe once or twice a week after you've been exposed to other humans, or if you've been on an airplane ride. And we're also looking at other ways of telling people or recommending to people how to get that a little bit of Pico Silver, Pico Zinc into your nasal passages. I mean, I know when I first started working with the Pico Silver, I would just put a few drops in the palm of my hand and kind of snort it to get that liquid into my nasal passages and up into my sinuses. So we're looking at these simple ways of offering common sense advice to people. This is rather than waiting to get sick. When I know whenever I've gotten sick, it's very hard to start pulling out the remedies and doing it. You can see why people will, rush off to the doctor or the emergency, and please go if you feel that you must. But at the same time, have your remedies on hand. Be snorting your Pico Silver on the way to the ER. I often said this about magnesium. Take your Remag on the way to the ER, and by the time you get there, they'll probably tell you you're fine. So we're looking for ways that people can take responsibility for their own health and support the structure and function of their whole body. Isn't that right, Ginny?
That is so totally right, and that is so totally true, because it actually has happened that our customers have thrown back a big swig of Remag on the way out the door, especially with AFib, and by the time they get there, things have calmed down. And so yeah, it does happen that way. You think we exaggerate, but we exaggerateth not.
Very good. Okay, where do you want to go from here?
Okay, well, we've got to get some waving hands, so we'll probably do some blog posts, but let me just tell all of our listeners and callers that 646-558-8656 is the number to call, and if you're already on the line, of course, you're going to want to hit *5 on your keypad to raise your hand in the studio and let us know that you want to talk to Dr. Dean, and we'll put you on the call with her. If you're calling in at 646-558-8656, you've got to enter a special ID number, and that ID is 8836953587, and press pound. And then once you come in on the call, again, you'll be able to hit *9 on your keypad to raise your hand and let us know that you want to talk to Dr. Dean. Also, I have a couple comments from the chat. First of all, Nancy L. wanted to say that she agreed with you in the early part of your presentation about self-talk and how to reinforce yourself and take care of yourself in that way. I thought that was very sweet. Doug Tidwell says hello. Thank you, Doug. And he also loves the zinc. Of course he does. And then Belinda also said, can you tell me where the Total Body Immunity book is located? So she was looking on drcarolyndean.com, not drcarolyndeanlive.com. So we want you to go to the radio show blog, drcarolyndeanlive.com. You'll see across the top the heading for books. If you click on that, you'll see Dr. Dean's amazing offering. Very grateful to our staff that's in the process of revamping this blog site. Brian and Derek are working on it, and we're going to have all of Dr. Dean's webinars up there and all kinds of other super cool and groovy stuff. So that's going to be fun too. And then, of course, the blog is on the same page, Belinda. So a couple raised hands.
Jenny.
Yep, here I am.
Under books, I don't see a total body reset for women yet. I didn't think we were putting it out till next week. Yeah. So it's not out till next week. Yeah.
Right. But total body immunity. That's what Belinda was asking me about.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's right on top. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
right on
good.
top. Yep. All righty. So we've got raised hands and emails. What would you like to do, Carolyn?
Well, we've only got 10 minutes, so let's do one phone call and see how far we get.
Okay, excellent. So now we're going to go to area code. Now here's a fun thing, area code 218. So I'm going to ask you to unmute your phone, and you've got to hit that little blue button on your end to unmute it, and then it'll let you come onto the show. So you've got to look at the blue button, and then there you are. Area code 218. Yep.
Okay, cool.
Go ahead.
Hi, it's Alyssa. Hi, Carolyn. It's Alyssa.
Oh, hi, Alyssa. Yes.
Hi.
Go ahead.
Hey, Jenny.
Hey.
Yeah. So my question is, I just bought your hormone balance book today and started reading that. But I want to start some work with my hormones to check on the balancing. And I've been on Remite. I've been on all your products. I love them. I feel cradled in health. But I've just noticed some shifts in mood and just different things with some stuff in my body. And I just wanted to check in on that. So I wanted to call and talk to you directly as I start that process. And then I'll be able to check back in with you along the way. So other than the diet and finding out more, what would be my first step? Like, would I go in and get a blood draw?
Yeah, this is very tricky. It's so difficult to know where to start, because when you go to doctors, what they're going to do is they can do bloods, and yes, it's good. And actually, Jenny, I'm thinking, did I even talk about this in Total Body Reset for Women? I don't know what I said in the hormone balance book anymore, but
right.
Back in the day in medical school, we weren't even really told what to do about women who are sort of perimenopausal or having hormone shifts, because now it's like the saliva enzymes or the hormones that you obtain from saliva seem to be ones that will give you more information, because when you're cycling, then you do a blood test at maybe 4 different times in the month. It's going to be 4 different levels.
Yeah,
because the hormones are, up and down and up and down. It's really tricky. I mean, that's why in the hormone balance book and even in the Total Body Reset for Women, I talk about just cleansing and detoxing and doing your supplements. But yeah, as you can tell, I don't have anything really specific to pinpoint and say, oh, you do this and then that'll happen. I mean, maybe you'd look at your Remag. Should you take more Remag and more Remite with that shifting? And with the yeast overgrowth, you've been moving around a lot. I'm sure your diet has been up and down and through the roof, because if you've got yeast overgrowth, that can throw off a lot of things, and all the stress of traveling and all the rest of it. So it's only natural that the body's going to react, because what happens under a lot of stress is the sex hormones take a back seat. It's like, she needs more adrenaline and she needs more thyroid. We're not going to worry about the sex hormones right now. And she's not going to get pregnant under this stress. That's the last thing she's going to do. So we'll just back off. And then the backing off of the sex hormones probably makes you think, oh, there's something wrong with my sex hormones, but it's the stress that's creating this, potential imbalance. And then you start to think, oh my gosh, I'm going through early menopause. And I did that.
That didn't even cross my mind.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
I'm like, no, I didn't even think that, but I guess I'm 35, so yeah.
Oh, no, you're not near. No, you're not near that. Yeah. So then it's going to be stress and yeast overgrowth. Yeah. That's all.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. If a 35-year-old goes in and they happen to find something abnormal, because they will, because that's what they want to find. Being on the products, your body's going to be different. And as soon as you're different, well, that's wrong. And then, they may say those words to you. Oh, you're just perimenopausal. Which isn't even a word. I mean, when I was under massive stress in New York doing the AIDS research and all the rest of it, I had what I thought was an early menopause symptoms at 45, but menopause is sort of 45 to 55.
Okay, so I'm not in that window.
Right.
I will definitely, I'm doing maintenance candida stuff, but I'll go strict with it when I'm in a place where I can, I'm in the same place for a few weeks and I can just go really strict with that. I've really benefited from that in the past. So, and I know you recommend, doing that every now and then to detox. It's something that we have to return to and kind of get in balance. So I'll do that. One question or just one background thing. Okay, just a few more minutes. When I was in my early 20s and doing natural family planning, I learned the, what is that method? You talk about it in your book with the Creighton model.
Right.
Yes. And so before I started on, I would say I started the Remite regularly a couple of years ago, and I was doing the drops before that. So my Remag and Remite consistent intake has been probably the last couple of years. So anyway, but in my 20s before your products, I was showing signs of like low progesterone and things like that. And I was consistently mapping, and they were able to kind of see those indicators. And I know you mentioned that you used to do that in your practice. So I'm on your products. I'm on Remag. I've upped it and gotten some symptoms that bring me back down to 2 teaspoons a day. What is the ratio of Remite to Remag? Like, do I need to keep the Remag more than the Remite? Can I?
Yeah, it's usually 2 to 1. If you're
2 to 1, okay.
But that's if you're up to 4 teaspoons. But Remite every day, 1.5 is where you stay unless you're on very high Remag, and then you do the 2 to 1 Remag to Remite.
Okay.
And we're at the top of the hour. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. I will continue with the de-stressing and work on the candida stuff, and if there's some saliva stuff that I find out, I'll check back in. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, because with the progesterone stuff, I wouldn't dive into taking progesterone until you clean up the other stuff. But you'd have to, follow up if you had signs of low progesterone before, but that's getting kind of medical for me on the phone. Okay?
Got it. Yep, got it. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate everything you guys do.
Okay, thanks, Alyssa. Appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, we'll be right back. Hour 2 coming right at you.
We'll be back with Hour 2 of the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with host Ginny Sanders, right after this brief station break. You can also get updates and resources online by visiting drcarolyndean.com. That's drcarolyndean.com.
Did you know there are 65 health conditions associated with magnesium deficiency? Magnesium deficiency is a public health crisis growing in scope and proportion. Dr. Carolyn Dean, author of The Magnesium Miracle, has identified over 65 health conditions associated with magnesium deficiency, 100 factors that lead to magnesium deficiency, and 24 reasons why magnesium deficiency occurs. Order The Magnesium Miracle today at Amazon.com and learn how to remedy this pervasive condition.
Do you have questions about your health? Are you wondering about alternatives? Do you ever wish you could have 5 minutes with a doctor you can trust? Someone who is an internationally recognized authority in the field of natural medicine? Meet award-winning doctor, naturopath, and best-selling author of The Magnesium Miracle, Carolyn Dean, MD, ND. Hear a wealth of information designed to empower listeners and callers to discover how to improve health, vitality, and well-being through a variety of safe strategies and nutritional options. Dr. Carolyn Dean Live. Shows can be heard every Monday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern, with weekly live shows, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Natural health, vitality, and well-being. Yes, everyone wants it, but not everyone is sure how to achieve it. Dr. Carolyn Dean's Completement Formulas are more than just dietary supplements. They're whole foods and picometer minerals designed to complete your nutrition, not just supplement it. Experience the difference Dr. Dean's formulas make. Visit RNAreset.com to learn more. That's RNARESET.com.
Omega Institute, offering workshops, retreats, and online learning dedicated to awakening the best in the human spirit. With more than 40 years at the forefront of holistic studies, Omega is known the world over as a trusted source for integrated approaches to personal growth and social change. Located in Rhinebeck, New York, just 90 miles north of New York City, Omega's natural environment and quiet pace allow for extraordinary experiences to unfold. Learn more at eomega.org or call 877-944-2002. Again, 877-944-2002.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
We return now to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with her host, cohort, and good buddy, Ginny Sanders. Phone lines are open during live broadcast.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Hour 2, Dream Vision 7 Radio. We're so happy you're with us. And we are having a complete and total blast this evening with Dr. Carolyn Dean, learning the very best of what there is to learn about natural health, safe strategies, how to protect your body and inspire your mind with all the goodness that she has to share. We're glad you're back with us, hour 2. Carolyn, I was thinking on the break when I heard the commercial for being in the flow of a life about our RNA drops.
Oh, yes. Tell us all about our RNA drops, Ginny. Why don't you?
Well, I was just thinking about how they're really called Relax and Allow drops. And they
Oh,
really are about the flow of life and flowing and being present and having the out of balance stressors that stress people out kind of just get into a very mindful position and allow people to get that additional edge, because it's very difficult to heal the body when you're stressed out.
yes, and yeah, Alyssa and I got into it a bit because when you're under stress, the body just wants to survive. It's not going to put much attention on anything else, and it freaks people out when they'll get a certain symptom that they have no clue about, and when you do a deep dive into the history, then you realize, well, yeah, the body is going to do such and such when it can't, as I said, you're not going to get pregnant when you're stressed. That's why there's so much infertility in the world, is because women are just so stressed out. So the functions in the body have a priority system where the first priority is to stay alive. And actually that's where total biology and the conflict basis of disease comes into the picture, because if your brain is in conflict about something, if you have something that's unresolved in your life that puts a worry gramophone thought in your head, then you aren't going to be able to relax, sleep properly, think properly, function properly. And what the total biology philosophy says is that the brain then will assign your body some sort of physical, not even a symptom, not even a disease. It will try to get your physical body to solve the problem. And it's very intuitive. It's just totally, even at the very core level, the base level of functioning. Like if a woman delivers a baby, the baby's in intensive care. The mother, just totally unable to solve that problem, can develop extra tissue in the breast ducts to supposedly produce more milk to try to nurture the baby. That's all. I mean, what do you do to help a baby? You give them more milk. And then that extra tissue that's formed gets diagnosed as breast cancer. So we've got everything kind of very much backwards in medicine when we realize that the body is such a genius. It's a self-cleaning oven, and it's going to take care of itself. And if we don't really realize what's going on, don't realize the possibilities, then we're going to misdiagnose it. It's like I said to Alyssa, somebody who's on our products, they go to a doctor and things, the tests don't seem normal. You have too much of this or not enough of that. And that can be a result of your body functioning optimally. When I had a hair test, hair analysis to check out, whether or not I wanted to be recommending it again, I had learned it in naturopathy. I thought it was too complex. It missed a lot. So I had a hair test a few years back, and the person said they couldn't figure it out because my magnesium levels were so high. All the ratios on the test were out of range because my magnesium was, quote, so high. No, my magnesium was perfect. And what hair tests and blood tests and all these tests our testing is people who don't have perfect levels of their nutrients. So we do not know what a perfect body looks like yet. We just don't know. So we're doing tests on perfect bodies and then trying to compare them to people who are deficient. And we're trying to say that the perfect body is wrong because it isn't fitting into the average of the sick population. So there.
Very good. So there. And there is the definitive statement of Dr. Dean. So there. I love it. Okay, we've got phone callers waiting at 646-558-8656. That's 646-558-8656. You've got that number in your emails, on our social media posts. You can see it here on YouTube and on the radio station. You can also see that ID number 8836953587. And when you come into the call, hit *9 on the phone. *9 will raise your hand and let me know you have a question or comment, and we'll put you on the line with Dr. Dean. And the way we do that is what I'm going to do right now, Carolyn, if you're ready to take some calls.
Go ahead.
I'm going to ask to unmute area code 585. So you'll see a little blue box on your phone or computer screen. Click that, and then you'll be available to talk to Dr. Dean, area code 585. And there you go.
Oh, hi. This is Deborah Salter. How are you guys?
Wonderful.
Is it Deborah? I missed the first.
Yeah, my last name's Salter.
Okay. Yeah, we just need your first name, Deborah. That's okay. Go ahead. What would you like?
Okay, I have two questions. The first question is that I live in New York State, so I can't get the magnesium, I think it's RBC test on request to test. Do they have the RBC for, can I ask my doctor for that?
Apparently not. You can try for it, Deborah, but what you can do is get the grassroots health testing. Either get the 4 tests that we do, or you could go directly to Grassroots Health and just order a magnesium test from them. It's a whole blood RBC test, so it's actually even a little better than the RBC test.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Okay, perfect. I'll do that. And then also, I have allergies. I'm completely off my Zyrtec because it's been doing a number of things to my body over the years. So I'm finally off the Zyrtec. But obviously, I still have the allergies. I've been taking the Remite, Remag. I may need to bump it up. But I'm also having like the nasal drip, which is giving me acid reflux, and then I got that cough because I got the mucus, draining into my lungs every other day. What would you recommend for that?
Before I get into the details of what your allergies are, have you tried the Neti Pot?
Yes, I use the Neti Pot almost daily when I'm having the allergies or the, I don't have, runny nose, itchy eyes. I don't have those kind of symptoms. It's usually more of like the lung symptoms. Do you know what I mean? Like they gave me an inhaler, Ventolin, to use it when I feel like it's that kind of allergies.
Have you looked at yeast overgrowth?
No. I mean, I have, thought about it. I just haven't read the book yet.
Yeah, because if it's building, mucus builds up in the sinuses, you get clumps of it, it falls down, if it's a mucusy kind of situation, then it irritates the lungs and all that. And there's something growing up there. If it's not yellow and green, then it's not a bacteria growing.
No,
so right. So it's more likely the yeast. And I know about this. This is what I go through. So it's time to read the book. Sorry, Deborah, it's time to read the book. And it's it's a free download at drcarolyndeanlive.com. It's called Reset the Yeast Connection. And, you know, because, you know, I feel your pain, at the beginning of this most recent version of the Reset the Yeast Connection, I have something called yeast management because I refuse to give up my fruit. So I'm living with my yeast and treating it at the same time with Pico Silver and Flora Revive. Have you gotten into those products yet?
So I just ordered the vitamin D. I was just looking today at the Flora Revive. I've been taking Just Thrive for more than a year, probably a year and a half. But obviously yours is very different. So I am familiar with soil-based. But I think it's time to move to yours because I feel like, you know, I always have that pit feeling in my stomach, which the doctors say it's like an acid reflux type thing. But I know it's like, you know, I don't know, something draining, causing my stomach pit feeling or whatever, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just sounds like it's time to get rid of the yeast in your mucous membranes. I mean, what I've done for mine is I will snort some Pico Silver, and that seems to work just as well as a Neti Pot. But the bottom line is the yeast-free diet, getting the Flora Revive in there, and the Pico Silver. And then when you're in control, then you go back to a diet where you can eat a couple pieces of fruit a day, but you stay with your Flora Revive. Okay?
Okay, sounds good. Thanks so much.
Okay, keep us posted, Deborah. Bye-bye now.
I will. Bye-bye.
And over to Ginny, who's multitasking.
No, I was talking. It's amazing that a lot of people don't necessarily associate allergies with yeast overgrowth, but you do, and that was a wonderful contribution. Thank you, Carolyn. That's beautiful. Thank you for calling in as well. We love it when people call in because the questions that people ask spark these kind of conversations and give people an opportunity to consider other things. When she started out asking if she could get a magnesium RBC test at her doctor, and you said, no, I don't think so. I think the reason why, Carolyn, is because in the beginning, we were telling people to go to their doctor and ask for a magnesium RBC test, and the doctor would even say, okay. And then inevitably, they'd order that serum magnesium test. So they, you know, and then when they go back and say, well, I really wanted a magnesium RBC test, the doctor would say, well, what for? Here's your results, you know. So that's kind of the thought form behind that is, yeah, just
right.
Exactly. Okay, let's press on with some more important phone calls, Carolyn. Let's go to, and I'm pushing the Ask to Unmute button for area code 757. 757, if you can look at your screen or your phone and click that blue button to release your line. Back to us. Welcome to the show. You're on with Dr. Carolyn Dean.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me? This is Richard.
Great. Hi, Richard. Great voice.
I have a lot of questions. I called you about 4 months ago about having Funk's disease. And I read one of your blogs that said if you didn't have enough magnesium, it could cause your cornea to be messed up. And I have been taking the Pico Magnesium, and it does seem to help. You know, I have like a haze, and then, you know, I go 3 or 4 days, no haze, and all of a sudden, like today, I had a haze, and I just kept drinking Pico Magnesium, and basically now it's clear. But the questions that I have are, I went to the doctor and they did a colonoscopy and they said I had a polyp and it was pre-malignant or whatever. And they said my bowels weren't clear enough. I had to do a whole bunch of stuff and go back again and take magnesium citrate and all kinds of stuff. But have you ever heard of Dr. Gerson therapy?
Oh, sure. I'm on their board. But let me go back. Let's dial back to the colonoscopy. Did they take out that polyp?
Yes, they did.
And now they're saying that you have to do more?
They showed me that they really couldn't go up as far as they needed to because there was, even though I did all the cleansing they said to do, it wasn't clear enough. It wasn't clean enough, so they have to go back and check again.
Right. Yeah, and I would do that. Yes, do the purge. What you could do too, Richard, before the colonoscopy is do some enemas, some maybe saltwater enema. Just really get that cleared out because they can, through the colonoscopy and the little grabber they use, they can get rid of those polyps. I mean, they consider every polyp pre-malignant. That's just the word they put on polyps. So it does not mean that it is a malignancy, not at all. I mean, that's the beauty of colonoscopies is they can remove these potentials. And the potential is there's a certain percentage, it's not a high percentage, but, they can remove them. So, yeah, you get yourself cleared out. Even if you have to fast for a couple of days, do the purge, do some enemas. Make sure that you're squeaky clean in there.
Well, I've been doing 2 coffee enemas a week, and I've done it for about 8 weeks straight now.
Mm-hmm. Good.
And I've been trying to add a little pico silver. Can you add that to the coffee enema?
Oh,
Does that hurt
absolutely.
anything?
No, that would be fine. And also, I mean, the thing is for any sort of colon malignancy is high dose vitamin C as well. Have you been doing that?
Well, I've been taking ascorbic acid 4 grams a day, and then your RNA, your
Whole
1
C
pill
reset.
a day. Yes.
Right. So 4 grams a day of ascorbic acid?
Well, it's 5 counting years.
Good. Yeah, that's good. That's helpful. What else?
Well, I've been doing the zinc, half a teaspoon with aloe vera once a day. And then I do, no, not with aloe vera. I do the pico silver, a teaspoon a day with, and then I do the zinc in with their smoothie.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get there, and I'm trying to order your Flora Revive, and you're out. Now I see that you've got a pack, so I want to order some of that to see if that will help. Also.
Right. Okay, now what is your mood about this? I mean, you sound a little bit low. Are you on top of this, or is this getting to you?
No. I mean,
you're good?
Yeah, I'm fine. We walk every day and get in about 60 steps, 60 to 70 steps a week, and 60 to 70,000 steps a week. 10 to 12 a day. I mean, I'm a little bit tired because it's late here and we walked already.
Yeah.
So, no,
Very good. You're on top of it, yeah. You're on top of it. I mean, that's the thing when you have, solutions, when you have things that you can do and take, then you not only are doing those things that will help, you're telling your body that you are, that you're fine, that you're taking care of it and everything's going to be fine. Now, in terms of the conflict of the colon, do you have any, quote, shit in your life that you have to get rid of?
Any what?
SHIT, crap, any problems, anyone bugging you, anything you want to purge. This is the total biology conflict basis of disease. If things are growing in the colon, it's because you're trying to get rid of stuff that's bugging you.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to tell me. You just that's all I'm saying. I'm saying work on that as well.
Well, I'm trying to. That's the reason I keep doing the coffee enemas twice a week, and I can tell that they have, improved. I feel better. I feel like I have more energy since I've been doing them, and plus the potassium is just helping out also.
Yeah.
But then I have a question. My wife has had, skin cancer, which is minor so far. But what can she do to avoid it, to prevent it? You go to the doctor.
Right. I mean, the doctor will just remove it, which is, is helpful. But to prevent it, is it related to the sun, Richard?
Well, I don't think she's ever really gotten that. I mean, I go out in the sun all day, and I'm worried about getting too much vitamin D myself. But she doesn't. She always wears a sunscreen, and she doesn't get that much sun, I don't think.
Well, some people are. I mean, they can be predisposed. What we hear from our customers is people who are using our Renew serum or our Renew face cream. It's got concentrated RNA drops. They find that can be very healing for, minor and not so minor skin conditions. We can't say it's going to be a preventive, but that's personally what I use and what I would be using on areas that have shown to be problematic.
Okay. Well, I know I've been using the Pico Silver and Pico Zinc together and sprayed it on my face. And I went out the other day and I didn't put any on the back of my neck. And the back of my neck was burning, but my face, it's like I didn't feel anything.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I know. It's amazing what good nutrients can do, and we appreciate hearing things like that because we don't really know the extent of what these products can do. Very interesting.
We like your products, and we're using them. We even have Pico Silver in a little spray bottle, and mist up into our nose at night in the morning when we get up to help our sinuses and everything. So
very good.
It's really good.
Okay.
All right. I really thank you for your time.
Okay, then we're good. Yes. You got it handled, and I like the fact that you call in every once in a while and get fine tuning. That's very appropriate. Appreciate it.
Okay. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Bye, Richard.
Bye.
Okay, Jenny. I got to go over these blog questions, Jenny.
Okay, very good. We'll do some blog questions and then we'll come back to the phones. Outstanding.
Okay, question 1. Can minerals help reverse osteopenia and osteoporosis? Will they also help strengthen tooth enamel? This is from Rosanna. Well, we've had a lot of people who tell us that once they're on the Remag and Remite and a certain amount of recalcia, they're doing their exercise, they'll report that their, DEXA test is improved, whereas the doctors will tell women that it's never going to improve. But you have to do your movement. It's the movement of the muscles, pulling on the bones that makes the bones more efficient in absorbing the minerals that they need to harden. I mean, I've said it many times, when the astronauts go into space, they lose bone because there's no gravity pulling on their bones. So it's not just about taking the minerals, it's about using the minerals and doing the exercise. And and just being positive about your structure. The bones are your structure, and if you don't value your structure, then the bones won't value you. There's this, I'm talking a lot about total biology this week for some reason, but in total biology, they say osteopenia, osteoporosis is devaluation of a person's life. Put value in your life. Help someone, they'll help you, pass it on, all those slightly kumbaya things. They are very important, especially in these times. In terms of tooth enamel, I think we've heard people who, swish around the Remag in their mouth, use RNA reset drops. It does help the tooth enamel. We've gotten a lot of reports on that. Erin is asking, they're a long-time user. She wants to know the basic lowest limit of supplements that she can safely downsize to because of finances. So, I'm sorry about that, Erin. Ginny, if you wouldn't mind getting in touch with Erin, and we'll send her out a couple of bottles. I'll send you the email. You may have it, but we'll send you a couple bottles to help you, along the way somewhat. But this is the problem, Erin. It's not a matter of a dosage, minimum, maximum, whatever. It's how you feel on them. I mean, I just got an email from one of our customers. Let me share that with you. She's saying that she's developing some symptoms back, and she's on 1 teaspoon Remag, 1/2 teaspoon Remite, recalcium, potassium, the 1/4 teaspoon of zinc, and she's having symptoms. So that means she's not on enough. I was able to get to 1 teaspoon of Remag, but that was after a year and a half of 4 teaspoons of Remag. And I take 1 teaspoon of Remite, 1 of recalcium, 1 teaspoon of potassium. I don't know what else to say. It's a matter of how you feel on them. Maybe, Erin, you could call in to support at rnareset.com, go over how you're feeling, and then organize the amount you could take. I would say at least 1 teaspoon of Remag and 1 of Remite. Those are the most important. And Ginny will look up your email and send you a bottle of Remag and Remite to help you decide how much maybe you require to make you feel great. That's what we want, and I'm sorry you can't afford them. We'll try to help you out. Okay, the next one, swollen joints. Can Remag help with inflammation, achy joints, and stiffness? And listen to this, Ginny. This is interesting. She's, who is it? Pamela says, I was taking a very popular curcumin supplement. That's a turmeric curcumin. It was helping me with these issues, inflammation, achy joints, and stiffness, but I had to quit due to side effects, hair loss, heart palpitations, and easy bruising. All of these have improved greatly since I've stopped taking the curcumin. I can also feel my joints going back to the way they were before. So yes, Remag is very important for inflammation, for joints, for stiffness. I would also say that Pico Silver is helpful for those areas because if they're chronic, it can imply a slight subclinical infection. Of course, all our products are going to be helpful, but you're asking about Remag. Read the Remag book, free download at drcarolyndeanlive.com. I think it's one of the oldest books, so it's probably on page 3, but you can find that book and find out more about Remag. Someone is saying about eye inflammation. I had cataract surgery and now have chronic inflammation in my eye. Can your minerals help me with that? If so, how? Well, the eyes really require minerals. Cataracts are related to too much calcium, however, so magnesium can be very helpful. What you would do, Anne, is Google my name and cataract and eyes and magnesium and find the blogs I've written about these things to find out more words, more information. Personally, I would also use Pico Silver. We're using, our customers are telling us that they're using Pico Silver in their animals' eyes for eye infections. I use it sometimes just for tired eyes. And it is, silver is also an anti-inflammatory. So read the blogs, Remag orally, not in your eye. Pico Silver, I personally put in my eyes. Next one, does inflammation cause diabetes? What are your suggestions for diabetes? Can they get off medication and do something more natural? This is Sandy. I think I alluded to this at the beginning when I was talking about inflammation is related to diabetes. Doesn't necessarily cause it. But what we know about diabetes and the medical texts write about this, that it's people with low magnesium that have diabetes. So you want to look at that, I think, to read more about diabetes. Do I have a diabetes book? Maybe not. You would look at my book.
You do.
Oh. Okay. You can read more in a free download at drcarolyndeanlive.com. What do I call that book, Ginny? I do forget.
A Total Body Reset for Type 2 Diabetes with a section about Type 1.
Okay, so there you go. So my suggestions for diabetics is in that book. I mean, basically, Sandy, it's stop the sugar. Stop the sugar so that insulin can do its work and allow the natural sugars from the diet to get into the cells and do their work to provide energy to the body. If you eat too much sugar, you cause insulin resistance because there's just not enough insulin to carry the sugar into the cells. So the sugar stays in the bloodstream and it starts affecting the eyes, irritating the eyes and the kidneys and the heart. So just think of that as you're going towards your computer to type in drcarolyndeanlive.com, that it's going to tell you to get off sugar. In terms of medication, can they get off medication and do something more natural? Do not touch your medication. Just do the natural things that we talk about. And then as your blood sugar improves, the doctor should recommend you get off your medication, of course. Okay, this might be the last one. So who is this? She's saying that she began Remag earlier this year. It's Maya, and she said, I can notice a difference from other forms of magnesium when I began supplementing Remag last fall. It works fast. Okay, so try to be quick here. I'm 46, and from a recent neck x-ray found there's mild degenerative disc disease. I would like to know what would be suggested to heal the arthritis and prevent any further degeneration. Now, Maya's not saying whether or not she has neck pain or what's going on. I mean, just about everybody they do an x-ray on these days, they'll say, oh, it's a mild degenerative disc disease, or come back when you get worse. So I don't pay much attention to x-rays. If you do 100 people a neck x-ray, the people that showed degenerative disc disease on x-ray will not have any symptoms because there's so much else involved. There's your mobility, what are your muscles doing, everything is involved there. What are your nutrients? So in terms of what to take for preventing arthritis, it's what we suggest for everything, because it's at the cellular level that we're giving recommendations for nutrients. We're trying to heal the cells of every cell in the body. We're not giving prescriptions for different diseases, of course. So what we look at is the Remag and the Remite. And if you're not eating 600 milligrams of calcium in your food every day, we'd add the Recalcia to get the total of 600 milligrams. And she's taking a 4,000 vitamin D, lives in a cold, dry climate in Alberta. And so it would be good to get your blood level of vitamin D, Maya, and make sure you're within the healthy range, which Grassroots Health has found from research is 40 to 60 nanograms per milliliter. And I found I needed to take 10,000 a day to get up to, what am I at, 53 now. She's taking zinc. Hopefully it's Pico Zinc because that's the best absorbed. Vitamin C, hopefully it's Whole C Reset. She's taking iron pills, may not be a good idea. I don't know anything about Maya's history. She's 46. She's probably still menstruating. Maybe she has anemia, but you have to be very careful with iron pills because they're not well absorbed at all. You can get in touch with support at rnareset.com and discuss this with someone and see if there's a better form of iron if you really do need it. She's on B12. You could be taking our Realign for the B12 and B complex because they're methylated and food-based, and she's taking herbs. And unless they're organic, I'm not really keen on herbs because they can be sweepings from the floor. I'm not a fan of herbs unless they're organic. And then she asks, is it important to supplement with calcium? So I mentioned how to do that. She doesn't have dairy in her diet, so she may need Recalcia. She does do bone broth. Trouble is with bone broth, we really don't know how much calcium is involved. And I talked about the 600 milligrams. And the ratio to magnesium, it's 1 to 1. So with our Remag, a teaspoon is 300 milligrams. So you want at least 2 teaspoons of Remag along with your 600 of Recalcia. And she says, I just want to make sure the electrolytes, minerals don't go off balance. Well, that's why the Remite, we consider it to be very well balanced, taking a teaspoon and a half of Remite. She says she's taking desiccated thyroid, hopes to get off it eventually, and that's quite possible with the Remite. And yes, you can take your Remite while still taking the thyroid medication, but what you have to do, Maya, is really keep track of how you're feeling. When I was on my Armour thyroid, which is, I guess, a type of desiccated thyroid, but it's standardized for dosage, I still had cold hands and feet. So when I started taking the Remite, within 6 weeks, I think it was, my hands started getting warm, my feet were warm, and I was getting a little hyper, and I did not wean off my Armour thyroid. I apologize to everybody. I just stopped it. and I have never looked back, and my hands are nice and toasty. So there you go, Maya. Instagram testimonials. Thank you for making your products. Your vitamin C has been life-changing. My body doesn't like many products, and this has been my best friend. And someone in the Czech Republic who takes our products said she began to suffer from panic attacks and anxiety, and she was given a prescription for antidepressants, but she didn't take them. 3 months ago, I came across a book called The Magnesium Miracle, and wow, that was it. I ordered Remag, slowly climbed to 3 teaspoons a day, and after about 2 months added Remite. These are amazing products. Everything changes for the better. I'm optimistic. After years of exhaustion, I can't wait for better and better tomorrow to come. I feel better and better. And I thank Dr. Dean for everything she does. So that's pretty awesome. So, Ginny, I will turn it back to you, and we'll see about some phone calls maybe.
Okay, wonderful. I will say that we have a great distributor in the Czech Republic for those who are listening to the radio show actually in Europe. And if you go to emagnesium.com, you'll find the European website, and you'll be able to order easily from them. I'm glad to see that their people are checking in. They've done a great job with working through those different markets. It's very exciting to have them on board. Let's go to, okay, so 2 phone calls here waiting, Carolyn. So let's do area code 248. 248, I'm asking to unmute your phone. If you could take it off mute on the blue button on your screen or phone, and then you'll be with us here on the radio show. There you go. Welcome.
Hi, this is Denise, and I was calling because I'd had this chronic bout with diarrhea, and it's been going on for almost a month. And for the last, maybe I want to say a week and a half or 2, I've been off of the Remag. But I decided, forget this, I'm going to take it. And the only reason why I was off is because I felt like all of the minerals and vitamins were going to go out. So I just started taking that. I finally got my order of Pico Silver, the potassium. I ordered the whole thing, so I have everything, and it came in, and I want to start adding that because right now I'm up to 2.5 teaspoons of Remag. So I was wondering, hopefully this won't run through me. Maybe I can add in Pico potassium or Pico Silver.
Right. I mean, hi, Denise. They're not silver and potassium do not tend to be laxatives, but did we tell you to do the psyllium and various things for your diarrhea?
No, I never did. I'm never asked about that. It just didn't get bad until like the maybe I want to say the last 3.5 weeks. I went to the doctor and I got one of those Imodium things they gave me. And that's all. And it's just been terrible because I don't know what has happened to me. I've never had it this long and going on every single time and having bloating stomachs and cramps and all that. I've never had all that this long.
Well, I think if you don't mind, if you could call in to support or email support@rnareset.com, because we've got to figure out if it is related to the Remag. Because there are things that we can tell you to do to stop it if the Remag is causing.
Oh, no, I don't think. See, I was having some of these issues before the Remag, so I will not put it on the Remag. Put it on me. No, the Remag is, I'm just so looking forward to doing all your products, really. I want to be diligent in it, and it seems like every time I get excited, I don't want to talk negative, but it seems like something just want to come in and just,
Right. Well, this is where I want you to be in touch, have a caseworker, have one of our customer service people, hold your hand for a bit, because you know, if you have sort of issues with the diarrhea, well, that's where we would ask you to use our Flora Revive.
Flora Revive. Okay.
Yeah, that's our probiotic antifungal. Because if you have a situation of some yeast overgrowth, you know, because when you talk about bloating stomach and cramps, that's yeast, and it can cause the diarrhea. So, you know, we would like to be able to help you, you know, in a little more than, you know, 5 minutes on the phone. Okay?
All right. Okay. So all I just need to do is call customer service?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I will do that. I will do that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Denise. Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Okay, excellent. Love Denise. She's such a sweetheart. And let's go to area code 719. I just hit your blue button to unmute your phone. 719, if you could look on your screen and hit your blue button, and that will let you come into the call with us. Area code 719. There you are. Hello, hello.
Okay, I didn't get a blue button, so I tried *6.
Okay, who've we got?
This is Pamela, and I want to thank you for all the information you've given me, and I'm working on getting that together. But today, I was wondering if it would be all right to ask a question about my mother. I feel this was
Sure,
more
Pamela. Sure, go ahead.
She is 3 months away from being 100 years old, and her memory is very poor. She's in a home, but she has, for the last several years, had big problems with UTIs. And the problem is that, especially when she has that going on, whenever she urinates, she's in extreme pain. And we tried to get her onto something that would help her with the pain. And they have issues with putting her, they won't even test her for a UTI unless she has more than one symptom. And this is the Mayo Clinic. And we know, because we've been around her enough, that when she has a UTI, and she may not have more than one symptom. But part of it is that she can't use most antibiotics anymore because she's been through all of them. But I believe there is one that can work. But I was wondering what kind of suggestion you might have in this case.
Well, will they let you, as a daughter, bring something in that they will dispense? I mean, that's the problem. No. Right.
Right now, they wouldn't let me in the building. None of us. She's in lockdown.
That's true too. Right. Well,
yeah,
you know, it's just, you know, I mean, I could say Flora Revive. I could say baking soda in the water. I could say hydrate and put the minerals in the water. There's lots that can be done. There's cranberry, is it cranberry capsules?
There's cranberry.
There's mannose. Actually, D-mannose, M-A-N-N-O-S-E, that has a lot of studies. What you could do, Pamela, is download my free encyclopedia, or just, you know, pull it up online onto your computer. That's at drcarolyndean.com. It's Future Health Now Encyclopedia, and look up the bladder infection section, and it's all, you know, all the various things are listed there, and you could see, you know, what I say and figure out what they'll let you do for her.
Okay. All right. And
okay.
You say that's at Dr. Carolyn Dean Alive or not?
Just Live,
Live.
L-I-V-E. Yeah, that's where it is. And you click on the books, and there's 20 free ebooks, and just look for the Future Health Now Encyclopedia.
Okay. All right. Great. That's wonderful just to have something to
Yeah.
try.
I know. I mean, you're trying to do your best. It must be just horrible. You can't even go in there. My gosh.
Exactly. I'm
Yeah.
so concerned that she won't make it through this pandemic and I'll never get to see her again.
Oh, that's so sad.
But
Mhm.
I just don't want her to be so miserable, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and there are alkaline agents like the baking soda that can be put in the water, but they worry about them causing, being too alkaline in the blood and causing heart disruption. So, I mean, they probably just don't bother doing much of anything, because anything you do can throw something else off. It isn't.
Yeah.
And they don't know enough about yeast overgrowth. I mean, she's probably riddled with yeast because of the antibiotics. If they could give her an antifungal, I mean, even if they could give her nystatin, because she's probably her bladder infections now are mostly yeast.
A nystatin?
Yes, nystatin. Nystatin is a very safe antifungal medication. So, it's a medication they can prescribe.
That's okay. That's the kind of thing that I need. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I will explore this then. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And what you say, Pamela, is that, you've been consulting with various doctors, and you're concerned that her antibiotic use has led to too much yeast, and that may be part of the inflammation around her genitals is a yeast infection. Because you've heard of, babies get thrush in their mouth from yeast. Women who have big breasts, they'll get a yeast infection under their breasts. And a lot of elderly will get yeast, around the genitals. So it's not an unheard of condition. So you might be able to push that to get an antifungal that may help a lot of her symptoms.
Right. Okay. All right. I just wanted to see if there was anything we could try.
Yeah, I
This has
understand.
been on for so long.
Yeah. Okay, Pamela, thank you for calling.
Sure. Thank you, doctor.
Bye-bye.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, what great callers tonight, Carolyn. I'm so excited for next week's show and all the good things that we have planned for everybody. It's just getting better and better.
I know, it is amazing about the calls. Every week is different. I mean, how is that even possible? Every caller is different with different concerns, but what are our solutions? They're always the same. They are.
Very good. Yep, they are the same. They're perfect, wonderful, effective, safe, simple, affordable, and all coming straight from your heart as the biggest gifts to the planet.
And as are you. You are a big gift to the planet as well.
Oh,
thank you, Jenny.
All right, everybody, that wraps up our show. Thank you, Rachel, the producer here behind the scenes, muting and unmuting and keeping everything flourishing. And thank you, Bob, your very own producer of 53 years, right, Carolyn?
Yes, we've been, yes, 53 awesome years.
Very good. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, everybody. Great show.
Thank you, everybody. Great show. Aloha.
Aloha.
You've been listening to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show. For questions about today's broadcast, email Dr. Dean at questions@drcarolyndeanlive.com. That's questions@drcarolyndeanlive.com.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.